boom, 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 boom. But if you look at the elephant's back, it's going. So we get that rhythm. It's that top that makes a lot of the black music sound funky, so to speak, because this is quarter notes, right? It's 4 of them in every bar, usually in most music. Ba, da, 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 da. But the top of it up here is da, 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 da. The hip hop people, they got that. Now, when I was young, I didn't know that. When I was in high school, we got called to go do a recording session for this older black guy that we thought didn't know anything he was talking about. He tried to tell us, see, you guys think it's the 8th notes. It's not the 8th notes, it's the 16th notes. That's those, okay? And we thought it was da 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 da, but it's da 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 da. So it wasn't until years later that I realized, oh yeah, that old man knew what he was talking about. And he had it together. I was walking by a classroom and I looked inside and there was a red set of drums. And I said, I want to play those drums. And I asked my teacher if I could play the drums. And they said, well, we have music, but you got to be in the 4th grade to play the drums. And I said, oh, sure. I said, okay. So it was Glee Club. And it was okay, but one day I said, what's this got to do with playing the drums? And they said, well, you still got to be in the 4th grade. And my parents bought our first house, because we always lived in somebody else's house up until the middle of the 3rd grade. I went to another school, and they asked me if I wanted to be in music, and I said, yeah, I want to play the drums. They didn't have any drums at all. And so I'm disappointed. They said, we have other instruments. Would you like to play those? And I was like, no, I want to play the drums. And they said, well, you got to pick something. So I go home and I asked my mother, I said, they don't have any drums. I don't know what instrument to play. And my mother said, I always like the flute. You should play the flute. And I said, okay. So I went back to school and told them, I want to play the flute. We don't have any flutes. We have clarinets, and they're like the flute. And they bring out this ugly metal clarinet, grayish, it's ugly. And everybody else has a beautiful black ebonite clarinet. You know, I tell my parents, I don't want to do this. I need a real clarinet. This is not a real clarinet. And they take me downtown to Southern California Music, and I'm enthused just by looking at all the instruments. I'd never seen so many instruments and different kinds of instruments. And I got my first clarinet, cost $75. And my parents had to pay $1.50 a week for it. That's how long ago it was. You didn't pay by the month, you paid by the week. Going to junior high school is what opened me up. When Mr. Magruder allowed me to play with the jazz band, I was like, oh, here's some new music. Sounds like some of the stuff I hear on the records. And I would go home and get the LPs and look on the back and read all the credits and the liner notes, which told you what form the songs were in and how fast they were and who wrote them and who arranged them and who was taking the solos. And I just kind of fell in love with that. Going to the Musicians Union, watching and listening to professionals play. It was worth missing school. And it just taught me so much, not in terms of theory, but in terms of moving me along. Because I'd be in a trance the whole time I was there. My across the street neighbor called me one day and said, I want you to come over here. I got somebody I want you to meet. And bring your saxophone. I did. And I walk in and he said, Woody, this is Benny Carter. And I was like, it's like meeting God. I couldn't believe it. And I told him I played tenor and clarinet. He said, no. He said, the double instrument is not the clarinet, it's the flute. You need to learn how to play the flute. Again, it inspired me. And though my mother and I didn't get along well in general, and especially about music, but she bought me an album called We Free Kings by Rosanne Roland Kirk. And I heard him play, and he'd get on the flute, and instead of like, and all that. And that's why she bought me that record, was she thought that was very exciting and different. And it changed my whole concept of not only playing the flute, but what it meant to be in the music. See, as opposed to just playing the music. There's a difference about being in it. A lot of what the older blues singers would do don't have rules. Or if it has a rule, it's sing what you feel. Play what you feel. It could be whatever they're playing, what they're feeling inside, coming to fruition. And that's kind of like I hear in the ranchero stuff, because I'm counting and I never could get the count of what it was going to be. Well, with these other guys, you got to play what they're playing. It's not about what you're thinking, it's about what they're playing or what they're singing. I think he's totally out of his mind. It can't be, because I'm playing the exact notes that the piano player is playing with the chords on the record. And I never get to an F. I got the album, so I go listen to it. And when I listen to it, the first solo on that was Cannonball Adderley, one of my favorites. And I listen to the solo that he's playing, and I recognize he's playing his solo in F. It's the same chords, but the attitude's wrong. It's like we're in Nevada, but we're in Las Vegas. We ain't in Pahrump. So it's different, okay? And it changed my whole way of thinking about music, changed completely, because I didn't know you could do that. I didn't realize the depth and the breadth of music. And when you asked about art, that's the art. The rest of it is mechanical. I feel like my music primarily doesn't come to life until I get other people working with it, and that's when it really lives. I'm satisfied that I wrote what I wrote, but it doesn't live until the other people perform it, and that goes with the plays that I've written and the musicals that I've written and everything else. It lives when somebody else is doing it. Now, some of it lives when I play it too, but it ain't the same. It's not. Miles Davis asked Dizzy Gillespie, long time ago. He said, man, you play all these high runs and all these high notes. He said, when am I gonna do that? And Diz said, when you hear it like that. He said, you don't hear it like that. See what I'm saying? So it's the same thing with me. I don't hear it like that. Now I'll recognize it when it's good, because I got ears, but it ain't in here or in here at all. So I don't think about it much. Now I still don't have what we call the chops of a real piano player. But what I do have is music and art. It's in me. I mean, I could take, if you gave me the sound of a bunch of dogs barking in a row, I can put it together and make it musical. I can do that, because that's the art part. If you don't have the art, you aren't there. You just are not there. And I figure anybody can get there, but you have to, yes, exactly, you gotta have, well, art is in the heart, right? H-E-A-R-T, he art. So, yeah.